What's up, everybody? Hopefully this thing works. Still getting the hang of it, the whole live feed thing. So I got a few things set up, so hopefully this works a little bit better. Anyways, just start off, you guys. I want to kind of do this because I always get a bunch of questions in the comments, asking different questions, and I feel like this might be a better way to answer some of them. I also noticed RT Life over there is doing a live feed at the same time. I didn't really know he was gonna do it at the same time, but I was watching that one right before I jumped in here, and he was getting into the whole family cruising and Growl's Garage and those guys too, which was kind of interesting. I don't know anything about it. I heard him explaining a bunch of stuff because I guess he has some more intel on that because he's closer and friends with those guys. But let's start off. What's up, guys? What's up, H. Garcia? What's up, Nicaragua? What's up, Kevin from Canada? So I kind of have two things going here, so I can actually hopefully read your comments while we're doing this at the same time. But I really want to do kind of just an open chat and kind of let you guys let you guys know what's going on at the same time. And I have some exciting stuff that I want to release for you shortly. I'm reviewing it so that it can actually be a little bit more palatable for you guys, and it should be pretty cool. One thing is HP Tuners, if you guys can see, they jumped on board. So HP Tuners is a sponsor of Boosted Motorsports now, but I'll do a separate video on that. So pretty cool that way. You guys know I had a bunch of trouble with Diablo Sport, and I don't at the end of the day, I just need something to work. I think that's the same as you guys. You want something to work, and you know, rightfully so. You guys pay money to have a product and it should work, and I just wasn't getting that with Diablo Sport. And I don't know, there's only two options really. There's Diablo Sport, well, I shouldn't say that, two major options what the major tuners use. So it's Diablo Sport and HP Tuners, but I couldn't get it to work on my 2014. It was fighting me and we had a bunch of issues. So, and I documented all that on the channel. If you guys are stopping in for the first time, check out all those videos on the Diablo Sport stuff, and you'll see what was going on there. But yeah, so HP Tuners stepped up. They're gonna help us out with some different stuff, which is cool. So that's another reason why I was thinking of kind of switching up projects too and starting something new, is because we already have the credits for this truck, but we have a bunch of credits to mess around with a new vehicle too. So it should be pretty cool. I mean, we could basically mod almost any other vehicle at this point and be all set. So let me see what kind of comments you guys got. What did I decide for debadging? When I bought the truck and I got it used, it didn't have anything on it. I don't know if you guys can see it in the view. You can kind of see it. I think the Viper's kind of cutting it off, but I didn't have anything on the side, and then I decided to add the black badging on the side. With it being a 14, I don't think they had, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but at least mine, I don't believe had the blacked out badging all the way around. So whoever had it before me actually debadged it, and then I went ahead and put the black Hemi one on there. But I think it looks decent, but the black Hemi one that I have, and this goes back to a video I did a while back, that black one actually is a little bit smaller in size. I kind of want to get the bigger one that actually fits the door or the fender a little bit better. But yeah, for now, I think I'll probably just leave it, but I do want to put a bigger Hemi badge on it. I'm not going to do anything corny, like put a Hellcat badge or anything like that, because I saw some people suggesting that, but I'll leave that for the Hellcat guys that have a true Hellcat. If it had a Hellcat engine in there, I definitely would. But yeah, other than that, I'm not gonna play with a badge that is different than the actual engine. So I'll leave the Hemi one on there with the 5.7. What's up, Diego? What's up, David? Yeah, ask any questions you guys want in the comments. It's kind of why I made this video, and I got the either vehicle there. If you guys want me to walk around and answer questions on any specific part, I get all sorts of questions, and I feel like I want to answer them all, but it's just hard to make a separate video on each one. So I figured like an open format like this, maybe we can make it routine if you guys like it, you know, maybe every Friday or I don't know if I can consume my Friday every Friday, but maybe, you know, Friday or a Saturday night every other week or something like that, where we can do an open source like this where you guys can ask questions, I'll walk around, I'll answer them right there on the spot, and hopefully it's a little more interactive. What's up, Logan? Channel has helped me a ton with the RAM, so here's some love. Thanks, man. Yeah, no, essentially the reason why I keep doing this is because it's cool. Like, for me, I enjoy it. It's not like I'm trying to make a job or anything out of this. I just like, I've always worked on cars. It's just always been who I am and what I do. And even before, it's gonna date me and make me sound old, but even before the whole YouTube thing, I was always doing something to cars. And when internet forums, not that they've died, but when internet forums were really big, I was actually documenting build stuff there and how like DIYs and all that stuff there. I still kind of try to do that to some of the community. You guys might catch me on Ram forum and stuff like that, doing some DIYs over there and documenting them. So at least we have the electronic format of some of the stuff that I do. But yeah, I wish I had documented some of my older builds, because it's not like I just started doing this. Like I had, not that, you know, I think we're kind of a domestic channel at this point, but I had a Honda S2000 with that I had since I was like 18, and that thing was insane. The car weighs like, I think stock it weighs like 2,800 pounds, a Honda S2000, and I had lightened it, removed a bunch of stuff, put a bunch of carbon fiber on it, and it was probably down in like the 2,200 pound range. You know, long story short, I took out the soft top, the convertible top, and a bunch of stuff that weighed a ton, and I probably had it around 2,200 pounds, and that thing made 600 wheel horsepower. So it was like close to 700 crank horsepower on that S2000. We were like killing street bikes and 1,000cc bikes. It was nuts. So, but I wanted to kind of move on from that, because here's one of the things: when you build a vehicle, you modify it, you end up making the engine, you know, have more power, and then it just starts trickling down. It's like, then the transmission, whether it's a standard or auto, is going to be the next in line, or usually, you know, it has to be prepared to hold more power, to handle more power. Then you got things like drive shaft, then you got rear end, and then you got axles, and even chassis flex, depending on how crazy you go. So like when I did the S2000, it was like over 600 horsepower to the wheel. Everything else needed to be changed. It was like the engine was good, but the transmission was weak, the rear end was weak. Like if I had to launch that thing hard, it would have just shattered. I broke a rear diff just with a little bit of wheel hop. So that's why I just decided, rather than upgrade every single aspect of the car, to get a car that could handle more power, and then just modify that, which is the Viper. I mean, that thing's pretty stout, but it's proven me wrong. I had to ship off the transmission, and I've almost not replaced, but just refreshed almost everything on that car at this point. Let's see what questions you guys have. Get a Predator badge. A Predator badge? What do you mean? What the heck's a Predator badge? I don't know if I'm misinformed, but I'm not sure what the Predator badge is. I don't know if it's some sort of comic. Oh, I think that's the comic thing, right? Like but doesn't the Corvette world has that thing? They have that Jake Corvette skull thing, right? Isn't that kind of the same thing? Any advice on some engine mods I can do to 2016 Ram 2500 6.4? On the 6.4, the truck, I'll just talk about it briefly. I was looking into the truck version of the 6.4, the 392 that comes in the 2500. I was like this close to buying a 6.4 liter for this truck, and then I kind of pumped the brakes because I was trying to decide which way to take things with that truck. So I did a lot of research on those. So the 6.4 that comes in the trucks, the 2500s, believe it or not, you guys, it doesn't make as much horsepower, but that motor is stronger than the 392, the 6.4 that comes in the Chargers and Challengers in the Scat Packs. So that 6.4 is a forged motor. The internals are forged, and it has like better cooling jackets, because that thing's meant to be almost tortured with towing and stuff like that. Obviously the 2500 is going to be more tow capable vehicle, and Ram, Mopar, whatever, has actually beefed up that engine quite a bit. So that thing is like a tank. Like that block. Oh, the other thing too is it's an iron block. It's not an aluminum block. So the 6.4 that comes in the Chargers and the Challengers is aluminum. The 6.4 that comes in the 2500 is an iron block, and has forged internals. So you can throw like a bunch of boost at it. I'm not saying that you're gonna go crazy with it. I mean, you could, but as far as mods, it's going to be a lot of the similar stuff that you're going to do with one of these. So definitely some headers. Stock headers are kind of terrible on these trucks. They're always the cast steel headers. So headers would wake the thing up. Simpler stuff, of course, air intake. That's kind of an easy one that most people do. Exhaust, I don't even want to get into the whole exhaust thing, because I've done exhaust on a few different vehicles, these ones, and I don't really think that it adds performance-wise. The stock exhaust flow is pretty decent, in my opinion. At least if you're going to maintain, if you're just going to do a catback. If you do like some sort of catback and you leave the stock Y and all that stuff, you're not going to gain much from going from a stock muffler to a free flowing one. Yes, it'll sound better, but performance wise, I've seen people drop miles per gallon. There's something to do with the MDS system and back pressure. I had a 2009 before this with the MDS. All I did was put an MBRP exhaust on it, and I tried a comparison, and I actually lost a little bit of fuel mileage just with a bit more flow. And you could hear, you guys have probably heard MDS kick on and off, and it seemed like it wasn't coming on as much as it was with the stock exhaust. See what else you guys got. Have you done a cam swap yet? No, I haven't done it. I kind of discussed with you guys in another video too, as far as what I wanted to do with this truck. So, with my truck being fully loaded and a crew cab, I kind of was I was really debating how far I wanted to take things. Originally, it's kind of ironic how this channel kind of started and grew was, originally I just started documenting everything with the Viper. And then I got a little bit bored one day, and I started switching some LED bulbs on the truck, and that got quite a bit of hits and quite a bit of attention. And I was just going around the truck changing all the bulbs out from halogen to LED. And if you guys go back, the truck build never really was intended. I just wanted to kind of freshen some stuff up, get rid of the halogen bulbs. I was having some trouble with the CAN bus system on the truck. So that's why I decided to kind of go through it with you guys and I guess document my experience of finding bulbs that were compatible, that weren't going to break the bank. You can go to some websites or some brands that I won't mention, but it seems overly priced for a simple bulb. And I was having some issues with compatibility, documented the whole thing. Everybody kind of wanted to see more truck stuff. Next thing you know, we're doing intake, we're doing bolt-on exhaust. I reviewed a Carvin Progressive for you guys. I ended up doing a bunch of stuff, intake, tuner, and then it ended up being headers, and then I found a supercharger. Now here we are today trying to see how fast we can make the thing. But as far as the engine, I never did I don't know, the cam swap, getting back to the original question, I don't know that I want to do that. I really have to decide what my plans are for the truck. I kind of wanted to see how fast we could make the stock engine. And then I was thinking of pulling the mods out. And you guys are probably going to go crazy for me saying that, but I was thinking of taking the mods out, putting the truck back to mostly stock so that I can use it for towing, because what I wanted to do on the channel, and I still do, is get a car that we can take to the track and beat the living crap out of and not have to worry about it. So right now, I mean, the Viper is kind of a dated technology at this point. I mean, the 2000 Viper is not really much different than the 96 Viper. They kind of didn't change a whole lot through the years. And I took to the track a few times, and if I'm gonna track it regularly, I'm gonna need to do some stuff to it. Whereas if I get something that I don't care about or that is more fit for the track, then I can tow that vehicle to the track with the truck. But I just don't want to make my truck unreliable is what it comes down to. So I don't think I'm going to cam this engine. I think the best thing to do would be to put some pistons in it so that it could hold more boost and crank up the boost. I love cams, don't get me wrong. I love cams, and if we did cam it, we'd probably delete MDS and go with a super lopey cam, but then that takes out my fuel mileage, makes it more of a race truck, and I just don't know if I want to make that division with the truck just yet. So hopefully that answers that as far as the cam, but it's still stock engine at this point. What else we got? Is it a hassle changing out the spark plugs on the Ram 16? Yeah, so Warren, I made a video, if you can check back on some of the other videos that I have. So I did change the spark plugs out on this. I showed the whole process, and it's actually taken off quite a bit. So I don't think there was a really thorough DIY, do-it-yourself on the spark plug job. And I ended up making one for you guys, or for the Ram community, for the Hemi community, and people seem to be liking it. I went step by step, cut and dry, simple, showed exactly how to do it, which socket extensions to get, and I think you could honestly probably do it in a couple hours for the average person. Don't get me wrong, it's not a hard job. It's just a little bit backbreaking because some of those ones that are in the back, you have to like dive into the engine bay, so it gets a little bit fun. Obviously there's more spark plugs, 16 instead of maybe 8 for an 8-cylinder, but it's really not that hard. What else we got? Am I still looking at the Corvette for possibly the next build? Yeah, Brian, I guess I probably just answered the question there. I'm thinking, I mean, funds are limited. I'm not a millionaire by any means, but I really want to get into a Corvette build. I just think that, and I don't want to kind of, I don't know, insult anybody that has a Corvette, but there's just so many of them available that if I take to the track, if I wreck anything, I can easily get some parts for that thing. And I can also get, get one of those cars for a decent price. There's like a huge aftermarket world out there for those cars. There's tons of options, tons of parts. It's just a bigger market to get to, and I think it would be a fun build. So I was thinking about doing that. If we take it to the track, if I want to do road course stuff too, that's kind of, I don't know, I really like road course. We could still take it to the drags, but if I go one way or the other, I wanted to set up for road course, take it out there and, beat the crap out of it. But, and like I said, not to offend any Corvette guys, but if I slid off the track or something crazy happened because I'm pushing the limits, obviously it would suck, but it wouldn't be like the end of the world. Whereas this thing, and I'm not trying to, make this thing sound like some sort of unicorn or whatever, but I mean, like the whole hood is the front fenders. It's all one piece. The bumper, and then trying to repaint stripes. I don't know. It would just be a mess if this thing slid off the track and something happened, or if some other clown on the track ended up bumping into me. So I just a little bit nervous taking that to track. I've still taken it to track and pushed it, but I just feel like the Corvette would be kind of, it's like, I don't even want to say this, but I've said to some other people, it's almost like the Honda Civic of American muscle cars, the Corvette. There's so many of them out there, so many parts, and I think it would just be a fun build to get into. What else we got? Hassle, Corvettes. What's the story on my Viper? How long have I owned it? Gorgeous car. Yeah, Kevin, thanks. I've always wanted one of these things. I finally could afford one. Finally found one that was one that I liked. Ironically, when I saw this online, I didn't purchase it locally. When I saw it online, I wasn't really a fan of the silver stripes. I was like, oh, silver stripes. And most of you guys have probably seen like red with white stripes or just solid colors or something of that nature. But I was like, oh, what the heck? Like it has silver stripes. Like, oh, I wish they were white. When I finally saw the car in person, my opinion completely changed. And you don't really see that many red with silver stripes from the factory anyways. I know people put stripes and vinyl and stuff, but those are painted stripes. They're original. Also, this car is an ACR. If you guys know a little bit about Vipers, the ACR is quite rare. There's somebody actually trying to document how many of these red with silver stripes ACR cars or even red with silver stripes, and it's like low numbers, like less than 30 originally, and some of them were wrecked and all that stuff. So there's like honestly less than 30 of these color combos with ACR model. ACR model is a little bit different. It's not huge. It's not like if 2016, 2017 ACRs are completely different. So those ones, they have all sorts of stuff. You guys probably seen the newer ACRs, the Gen 5. They have like splitters and huge wings. The only difference on this one, there's some oiling differences. So in the oil filter block, it's a little bit upgraded. What else? Most of them didn't come with AC. You had to add the option back in to have AC. It came with performance coilover suspension from the factory. It came with a 5-point harness from the factory. What other differences? It came with different intake, just different intake runners. There wasn't a whole lot different, but, and also doesn't come with fog lights. They have like block off plates for the fog lights. So nothing huge, but there was some differences from the ACR. And yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I've always wanted one. I don't want to get rid of it, but it's just kind of sitting here because whenever I take it to the track, it's like I got to do something else to it. I really just want to take to the track, beat on it. I know it sounds kind of like a situation that would never happen, but I kind of just want to have something that can take the beating a little bit more than this. It's not that this can't, it's just it's going to take more money, and it's an older car, so it's going to take a bit more refreshing. So, but everything is almost, I've literally refreshed this whole car. You guys have, been along with me for the Ram journey. I've honestly like done everything to this car, and I've documented it on YouTube. If you guys go back in the videos, I don't want to get into lists, but it's like power steering rack has been done. Every single bushing on the whole car has been done. Short throw shifter, rear end, what else? Suspension, exhaust, you name it. It's pretty well been done. So the only thing that was left was the transmission. That just got sent out. So the only thing that hasn't been taken apart is the engine, and the car only has like 70,000 miles. Kind of high for a Viper, but still not high in general. All right, let's see what else you guys got. Yeah, no problem, Steve. Thanks for joining. Any thoughts on it turning into a badass pre-runner? David, my truck's a 2-wheel drive, so I think that would kind of be a little bit, I don't know, that'd be strange to turn my truck into a pre-runner. I feel like it's more of an off-road four-wheel drive thing. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'll turn it into that. Part of me wants to put this truck back to stock eventually once we do all the testing, see how fast we can make this stupid thing go, and then put everything back to stock, sell off all the parts, and I can use that money to start a new build, because I only have so much space, I only have so much money, and I want to keep things interesting for you guys and myself. And at the same time, it's like, I also want to make the channel relatable. If I start going absolutely bonkers with the build, like if I end up doing like, 6.4 swap with a cam and E85, I think most people are just gonna go, I don't know, I would never do that to my truck, I'm not gonna watch it. I could be wrong on that sense, but that's just my gut feeling, is if I go too crazy and it's not relatable to too many people, as far as if I take the build just too far. Like, 'cause you guys probably see on the forums or Facebook, because a lot of people kind of gather on Facebook groups these days, but everyone's asking very simple questions. They want answers to more simple questions. And I just feel like that might be a little bit more of the route to go. And I feel like we've covered a lot of that stuff. So everyone's asking, which intake's the best, which exhaust is the best, throttle body this, can I fit 35s is a big question that comes up. So like just basic stuff, and I think we've already kind of gone past that. There's a few more things I want to cover before we kind of change directions. There's some stuff. I do want to at some point pop the front bumper off, document how to remove that front bumper. I know it's a pain on those sport vehicles, but I want to take the front bumper off because I actually want to remove the fog lights and make them black housing. That's the only thing that's not black housing on this, so I want to do a DIY with you guys, share that process of how to remove the front bumper cover, how to take the stock fog lights out, and how to separate them, paint them, and put them back together. I think that would be a cool video. It's something I want to get done, so that way the front end looks all, like it came from the factory. I don't know why they didn't do black housings on those fog lights, but at some point I do want to get that done for you guys and for myself. David, most pre-runners are two-wheel drive. Okay, well, there you go. I don't know much about pre-runners, but I do want to keep this truck available to tow. So that's one of the reasons why I don't want to change too much. I'm probably going to put the Beltec 2.4 kit on there. Once we do, I'm just staring at the tires here, the slicks, but I kind of do want to, put the 2.4 kit on there after we do some initial runs with the truck, because I want to see what it's going to run. And then we'll put the 2.4 kit on there, see if it still runs the same lap times or I guess quarter mile time before we kind of move on from things as well. I want to see how that affects everything. I know the only thing with lowering the truck is it's gonna kind of do a lot of stuff as far as having to readjust the pinion angle, all that stuff, and get everything right, get alignment. I don't know if how my front wheels are gonna fare off, because I have low offset front wheels that they might actually stick out past the front fenders, and then if I hit a big bump, they might bang into the fenders. So I don't know. I gotta reassess that once we get there, but it's where we're at right now. Let's see what else we got. Vipers are very robust. Sorry guys, I'm just following along. What happened to the I-boards? So the I-boards, I ended up kind of getting rid of those. I put them on for a little bit. I never intended to keep them on there for a long time. I just wanted to put them on there, test them out. They're a very nice looking board in my opinion. I like the way they look. I think they're one of the better options as far as aesthetic looking and following the lines on the truck. They do go very nicely with everything, but also, I'm not a running board guy at the end of the day, and they do help protect door dings and all that stuff, but I just took them off because my truck's two-wheel drive. It's not that high, and I like the look better without it. What else we got? Am I gonna head can the Viper? The Viper, like I said, I gotta decide what I want to do with it, but I want to get, whether I keep the Viper or don't keep the Viper, I want to, I guess, be able to afford something else and be able to put mods on that other vehicle. So probably, most likely Corvette it's looking like. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, but I want to be able to get that car, purchase that car, and also, be able to modify that car. So I think the Viper build is probably gonna I don't want to say be put on hold, but as far as heads cam, one of the things with the Viper is the Gen 2, which is what this is. Heads are like terrible at flowing. You can port them, polish them, but just the design isn't that good. And then most people end up putting on Gen 4, or I think some people have actually bolted up Gen 5 heads, which flow better. They wake this thing up, but you're talking like some serious money. Like, it's no joke. It's not like that Hemi over there. So you're talking for heads, cam, like to do Gen 4 heads on this car with cam and valve train and all that stuff, you're talking like almost 20 grand, and I'm not even making that up. It's like in and around that number. And I don't know, or actually I can confidently say I don't want to spend that money on this car. Honestly, I'll probably end up getting a Gen 5 before I drop like 20 grand into this thing. I know this is a classic and whatnot, but if I want more power, I'll probably just get a Gen 5. Leave this the way it is. I might just put like a cam in it. I think that would be cool, at least if I hold on to this thing. Throw a lumpy cam in there and I would be happy with that. But yeah, heads, cam, I don't think, if I went heads cam, I would end up wanting to do the Gen 4 stuff, and I just don't want to spend like 20 grand on that car. Let's see. Hi, John. Oh, so the CAN bus decoders, who asked that question? Ramiro. So the CAN bus decoders, I tested out in other brands and they didn't do what I wanted them to do. So I'm still on the hunt for a set of decoders. I know some people run a relay and all that stuff, but I'm still on the same decoders as before. Like I said, I tried the other ones. They didn't fare off too well. So I ended up going back to the ones I originally had. But I'll try. I haven't forgot about it. I'm gonna try to sort it out for you guys and get it. I know, you know, some people chime in and say, you know, you can go to Headlight Revolution or any of those guys and get their kits. True, but I don't think most people want to pay what that price is. I know you have to pay to play, however you want to say it, but I want to find a more affordable solution that everybody can jump on board with. That's not going to break the bank, and you're not going to, you know, be sick to your stomach buying it either. What else we got? Mr. Everything. Yeah, they're pretty robust. Just one thing I want to comment on that is, you know, age gets to everything. It doesn't matter what brand it is. They are very strong. The motors are strong, but it's just like, it's always something. It's not necessarily the car breaking down. These things are like you said, they're tough. And until I actually bought one, I never knew how well they actually handle. These things are like go-karts. Even though it looks like a big fat car, when you get in that thing, the steering is ridiculously, like the ratios are super tight. You turn the wheel a tiny bit and you're, you know, changing lanes. So that part's cool. And I mean, that thing, like, the feedback you get from that car is like you're connected. You know, if you mess up with the throttle, the back end's gonna kick out, it's gonna spin, you know, turn the steering wheel a tiny bit and it changes lanes. Like, it's pretty cool. It's a connected car, robust, yes. It's just small things. It's like the car's almost 20 years old and this little seal is gonna start leaking, and it's just all the little things that add up and that I'm going through. And like I said, at this point, I've pretty much changed everything. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards keeping it, because if I ever wanted one of these again, I'd probably have to go through all the same process again, which I've already done. So that's where I'm up in the air, actually moving on from it. Unless I got some serious money for it, then yeah, I'm probably gonna end up keeping it. Let's see what else you guys got. If a guy was interested in a Ram SRT 10, what would be your thoughts? So, Joe, I haven't told everybody this, and I guess this will be kind of I don't even want to call it a reveal, but I actually have a Ram SRT 10. I haven't showed you guys it. It's not stored here. It's stored somewhere else. I'm not making this up. I have it. It's 2005 Ram SRT 10 commemorative edition. It's a numbered truck. It's one of 200. It's white with blue stripes. And it has like, how many miles does it have on it now? It's not more than 30,000 miles, somewhere in and around that range. So at some point I will show you guys that truck. I'm just trying to finish this stuff before I bring that out. So it's a single cab Ram SRT 10. It's got the 6-speed in it. What gear ratio is in that thing? It has the better gears because it was in 2004. They had a bad gear ratio in the back. I think, don't quote me, I think it's a 456. I don't know. Anyways, it's got the better gear ratio in the back. It's been a while since I've actually reviewed all all the stuff on it, but it's all stock. It only has a K&N intake on it, but yeah, at some point I want to get that. I don't know if I'll really modify it because it's kind of a rare truck, but I do want to at least do some stuff with it. I know on Facebook there is like a ton of people arguing whether the Ram SRT10 is faster than today's 8-speed. With 2 less gears, you are at a disadvantage, but at the same time too, like that truck, the amount of horsepower and torque it makes is no joke. 505 horsepower, and I can't remember the exact torque number, but I know it's got quite a bit of torque too. And I mean, it's a quick truck, but one thing to keep in mind is, think about this, that everybody wants to sit there and say how slow the SRT10 Ram is. If you take the same truck at like a 4th gen, that like, let's just break it down. So SRT10 has huge brakes. It has these massive Brembo brakes. They're like, you know, a huge like plate of a brake. That's actually quite a bit of weight. So you have a bunch of rotational mass, and also it has those big heavy 22s on all 4 corners. Nobody's actually sat down and said, if you put smaller brake, like if you're trying to go for drag racing and how fast you can make things, if you put smaller brakes, smaller lightweight wheels on the Ram SRT10, that is gonna change things like tremendously. Like that's a major difference right there. So nobody ever talks about that stuff. And there's a bunch of weight stuff that you can get rid of. Like everyone wants to say, oh, you know, 4th gen Ram Hemi 8-speed, like it can run 12s as bolt-ons. And nobody ever wants to admit that that's fully like prepped. That's with weight removed. That's with, you know, usually drag tires on the thing. If you did all that stuff to the Ram SRT10, I'm not saying it's gonna beat it or be faster, but you're gonna be right there. So, you know, you gotta compare apples to apples when some of these people on Facebook are having these arguments on Ram SRT10s. Obviously I have both, so I don't care which one's faster, but I just kind of wish people would compare them apples to apples instead of trying to say, you know, my fully prepped 4th gen could smoke your stock SRT10. It's like, of course. Isn't that a given? What else do I got? Do I still sell bored out throttle bikes? I have a few of them. I don't really know if that's going to be a common thing, but I have a few, so email me. What else I got? Bro, I can't find any K&N cold air intakes. Yeah, K&N intakes. I mean, you can buy one new. I'm sure you can find one that way, or used. I mean, they pop up all the time. Some guys are usually putting their trucks back to stock, and they end up selling them. So check OfferUp, check Craigslist. I'm sure you can find one. What else we got? Guys, give me 1 second. I gotta actually get a charger for my laptop just so that I can kind of do both. I didn't know how long this was gonna go, but let me just grab the charger so that I can still answer your comments, and I'll be right back in 2 seconds. All right, we're back. So what's the next question here? I don't know. David's pushing for pre-runner truck, but it would be cool. Don't get me wrong. I just think for towing, and what I really got to keep in mind towing, because I want to do some cool stuff eventually. I want to actually like do some road trip stuff where we like. And that car, the Viper, I did like a massive road trip, which I could have documented. I like flew I think it was like 2,000 miles away. Flew 2,000 miles away, you know, ended up buying the car, driving all the way back. It was a pretty cool trip. And like, I don't know, YouTube wasn't really on the agenda at that point, but I think doing stuff like that would be super cool. You know, documenting the whole adventure, or taking the Ram and, going to pick something up with the trailer would be cool too. What else we got? Ram Sane, what's up, man? What's up? When are you gonna stroke the Ram and up the boost and send it? I was actually talking about this earlier, I was like this close to getting a 392 6.4 out of the 2500 truck, but I kind of was a little bit hesitant because I just don't know if I want to take my truck that direction. And I kind of want to, like, I don't know. What I was thinking about was I still need a truck to tow and all that stuff, so that's why I don't want to go too crazy with this thing. I know some people want to see this thing go crazy, and then I have other people that follow the channel that say, I just want to know how to maintain my truck. You know, it's my work truck or it's just a truck to me. You know, I want to upgrade small things like lights and stuff, but I don't want to like turn into a race vehicle. It's not why I bought a truck, which I get. I just think, you know, some of us want to see how fast this thing would go. That's what we're doing, but I think at some point we might put it all back to stock and continue. But yeah, I almost got the 6.4, which is when I would crank the boost. But I think, man, I don't want to be caught with my foot in my mouth, but I think we're gonna find that the truck is pretty fast when we go to the drag strip here soon. December 15th, I think it is. December 15th, I think, Saturday. All goes well and there's no you know, weather issues, we should be able to run this thing. I'm also gonna try and do this coming Thursday. I'm gonna try and hit some 8th mile stuff, just get some testing in on those tires before the actual 15th. What else we got? Be nice to use your truck for a truck instead of jamming everything in the Jetta. Yeah, Cody, I've I've done some funny ass things with Volkswagen vehicles. So I don't know why it's always been that way, but I think it started off with a diesel. I ended up getting a diesel Golf, and that thing was just insane on fuel, and that was my daily. And then it ended up being a Jetta diesel, and yeah, I'm actually in a gas Jetta right now, but it's always just been that way. Ever since I kind of moved to a Volkswagen for my daily, I just kind of got used to it. They drive really nice, and they're actually pretty reliable, and they're not that bad to maintain if you do it yourself, which I've done, and I have like the programming software to be able to diagnose them, and I kind of like them. They're like those little cars. It's good on fuel. It drives real nice. It's comfortable. The seats are comfortable. It's good on long drives. So that's just why I bomb around in those things and then keep all the toys, you know, in the garage. What else? Hey John, when are you going to put those JDM stars on your fogs? I'll probably try that soon. Actually, I've kind of just been trying to get a bunch of stuff done while working full time. So trying to do as much as I can at the same time. I should probably try those ones in the fogs and see how they compare. But I'll get that done for you guys soon. It's actually a good idea. Thanks for reminding me. I still have 4300K HIDs that I want to try in the projectors and see how those fare off. Right now I got 5000K, but I have 4300 bulbs, brand new, that I still haven't tried for the HIDs. I want to just see what the color difference is. We already kind of know, everyone knows what that's gonna look like, but I still want to do it for you guys and actually show you guys a visual. What else we got? Shane Smith, what up, bro? What's going on, Shane? What's up, Mark? Do you believe your HID setup will work on 2016 Ram Sport? Yeah, so the HID kit will work on the 2016. There's no reason why it won't, but I can't stress this enough, guys. For some reason, Ram ended up changing the bulb type slightly. Like some of them are 9006, some are 9005. So and that doesn't matter which bulb I'm talking about. It doesn't matter if it's the taillights or any of the bulbs on the whole truck. Just double check. You can go to that Philips bulb guide. I've linked it in a bunch of different videos, but just type in Google Philips bulb guide. It'll come up, put the year, make, model of your truck, and just double check your bulbs before you order. But yeah, there's no reason why it won't work on a 2016, but just check your bulb type because it might be 9005. I believe mine was 9006. It's been so long since I've looked at it, but yeah, it's a little bit different. So I've had some guys like, you know, start arguing with me in the comments, you know, I bought these bulbs and they didn't fit. And they're talking about, you know, reverse bulb, LED bulb that are for the LED, factory LED taillights. And they're trying to order them for like a regular halogen taillight. You know, you guys have to do this much research when you try these things. So just make sure you have the right bulb type before you go ahead and order it. What else we got? How many miles are on the Viper? It's about 70K, so not too high. It's high for Viper because there's some that have like 3,000 miles on it, but overall, I'm not really phased by 70,000 miles, and I've pretty much refreshed everything at this point. Are you gonna tint again? I still haven't done anything about the rear window as far as tints on the Jetta, so I might tackle the rear window. Nah, maybe not. I honestly hated it. It was like torture. I probably could do it faster and better the second time around, but like at the time, it was just, I don't know. It's so tedious. And I'm very like precise, but like when you're like fanning and combing out this like paper thin, like it's almost like saran wrap material, and then all of a sudden it creases, and as soon as it creases and you press that crease, it's like done. Have you ever seen tent guys? If they make a crease in it, you just see them ball it up and just throw it away and start again. So, and if they do it and they do it day in and day out, imagine like what a average person like me just trying to do it would end up with. Let's see what else you guys got. After you're done with the 4-door, why not put more money into SRT? Yeah, I might end up modding. I don't know. We'll see what happens with the SRT 10. Like I was mentioning before, I don't really want to take it too far away from stock. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I don't want to make it too crazy because if, you know, it's a rare truck, it's a rare model. There's only 200 of those ever made. The version that I have, the white with blue stripes commemorative edition. But I just don't know if I want to mod it to the extent that we modded this thing, being the truck. Just because it's going to have some value at some point, I believe at least. What else? So, you know, you guys can ask any questions, like I mentioned earlier. Ask any questions. I can, you know, take the camera out of this thing and walk around and show you different stuff, which I'll probably do here in a second. No, I haven't really shared too much personal stuff, to be honest, guys. I might at some point, but I just make a modest living, earning. I don't like, even though this might look different, I really don't, you know, make a ton of money. I just smart with my money. So another video I made about just being wise with your investments and your money, and that I wish somebody told me sooner. I figured it out, I feel, at least, but if somebody told you sooner to not spend or sink all your money into the vehicle you have right now and just be wise with your money, see how much reoccurring payments you have every month, like your monthly expenses, minimize your monthly expenses, don't dump a bunch of money into a vehicle that you just have right now if your, you know, goals or ambitions are to have something better. So minimize your monthly payments, whatever that is, cell phone, food, entertainment, whatever. I'm not saying live a boring life, but just take a look at it. See what stuff you can live without. See what stuff that you can get a better deal on, whether it's your cell phone bill or your TV or any of that stuff, and try to minimize it. And if you can do stuff yourself, like any of the work that you can do yourself, you can save money. Some of the mods and parts that, well, everything that just so you guys know, everything that I've pretty much put on the truck has never really been brand new. ProCharger kit, you know, almost $7,000, somewhere in and around that number. Don't quote me, but you know, $7,000, picked it up for $4,000. The headers, you know, $600 or some odd dollars from JBA. I got them for like $200. Pretty much everything, like the electric cutout, I think it's like $500. I waited till eBay had a 25% off coupon and it ended up costing me, you know, or saving me like 100 and something bucks off that. Like everything, I've just been, you know, very smart with the purchase decision, and it hasn't cost me that much. Even the Hellcat wheels that are sitting wherever, they're sitting here. Those things are, you know, quite a bit of money. I paid $1,200, $1,200 or $1,300 for those Hellcat wheels with rubber and those tire stickers and everything you see. Somebody was taking them off, trading the truck in, something of that nature. I sold my stock wheels for like $800. So I dropped like $500 to put those wheels on versus the wheels I had. So I'm just kind of very strategic with everything, and that allows me to afford to do cool stuff like this. But like I said, not like rich by any means. What else we got? Charles, I had a 02 5.9 Cummins and a 5.7 Hemi 2011. The Hemi is so much better. Yeah, I was actually, there's a few diesel, I guess, channels out there, which are pretty cool. I've always kind of wanted one of those diesels. One of the problems is, if you guys are into diesels or no diesels, 2006 was the last year before they ended up putting all those DPF systems on any diesel. So if you guys look to, a lot of companies disappeared in '07, '08 because they made regulations for 2007 that were very strict. And this is also where the whole diesel scandal came into play with Volkswagen. So 2006 was the last year that you could, that before they actually increased the restrictions on diesels and their emission systems. So if you guys look, or I don't know if you guys are interested in Volkswagen stuff, but this just kind of tells the story. 2006, pretty much all diesels, they only had a catalytic converter. That's all they had on them. And then by 2007, when those stringent emissions, the EPA put in those stringent emission standards, you start seeing all the DPF systems, so diesel particulate filter. So they actually start putting all these big crazy systems on there to reduce the emissions of a diesel. And Volkswagen, this is what tells the story. Volkswagen didn't create a diesel. They had one, but they just didn't sell it. So there's no Volkswagen in North America as far as I know. At least in Canada and the US, there's no 2007 and no 2008 Volkswagen TDIs. And the reason for that is their vehicle couldn't meet those emissions, and pretty much everybody ended up putting a DPF system on their Volkswagen. 2009 hits, Volkswagen releases their diesel, and they call it a clean diesel, but it doesn't have a DPF system, which everybody pretty much had to put a DPF system to meet the emissions requirements. And those are the ones that actually, they did that whole diesel scandal thing. And from 2009 to 2015, I think, all those vehicles, the 2 liters and some other ones, are the ones that ended up being part of the scandal, where you would when you'd plug an emissions scanning device in it, it would change the coating on the vehicle so that it was less polluting, less, or less was coming out of the tailpipe. As soon as you would unplug it, it would go back to a different tune or map. And some university, I think on the East Coast, ended up finding this out because they were driving around for some reason with a sniffer measuring exhaust, and they noticed when they plugged in that the emissions was different than when they were driving around, and they blew the whistle on Volkswagen. But yeah, just small backstory on diesel is kind of funny. What else we got? So, thinking on drifting the Viper when you get it fixed. Yeah, as far as drifting the Viper, it's not very drift friendly. So this is what I mean by it. If you guys check out some of my other videos, I actually took the Viper to 8th Mile. I've taken it to an autocross course. I've also taken it to a street course, a road course. So I've done all that with the Viper. And one thing that's you guys probably won't know, or I didn't know at least, I'll speak for myself, I guess, is the Viper is actually 50-50 weight distribution. And what that means, that part's self-explanatory, but what that means for drifting is if the back end lets go, it's gonna pretty much take the front end of the car with it. So if you lose, that's why a lot of these people crash Vipers. So what happens is it's got so much torque that they'll break the back tires loose. And once you get the back tires, the back end starts coming around on you, the back of the car weighs just as much as the front of the car. So what happens is as soon as you lose traction in the back, that weight swinging is just gonna take the whole front end with it, and you're gonna pretty much go flying. So even though the engine's in the front of this car, it's actually a mid-engine, mid-front, I think they call it, front mid, mid-front engine. So that engine is actually starts behind the tires, and that's why when you sit in a Viper, the transmission tunnel is huge, because it's actually kind of going over a portion of the engine and the transmission, because everything is shifted back. And that's what helps with the 50-50 weight distribution. And everything's kind of, I don't know, the seating, if you ever look at the Viper, and this probably view isn't the best, but your butt is almost sitting on the back tires. So it's got just as much weight in the back as it does the front. And it helps with handling, but drifting, that's why a lot of people that drift will use something that's light in the back so that they can kick out the back and the front stays planted and it pivots on the front. But I don't know if the Viper, I don't think I've ever seen anybody drift the Viper, just because I don't think the weight distribution would be favorable for that purpose. What else? So let me, I guess I'll kind of just show you a couple things since we're here. Let's flip this thing around. All right. So this is getting pretty long. Oh, we already went 50 minutes. So here's the truck. I just want to show you guys a few things under the hood and kind of explain a couple things before we part ways. So I still have these wheels on the front. Reason being is I kind of leaving the truck in track mode since we kind of got canceled the last time. I don't have the tailgate on. Anyone's interested, the LED bed lights are still working perfect. Come on with the remote. That was a pretty cool mod that I really do like. I kind of don't notice it anymore, but what's up, Ahad? Okay, so under here, I think I was letting you guys know before, but I put the ProCharger blow-off valve back on just because the other one wasn't holding boost pressure, I believe, and the other one was getting a little bit annoying. The constant hissing while you're just cruising was kind of getting to me. That's that part. As far as belt life, this thing has probably around, I want to say about 3,500 miles on it, and the belt squeals right now when you start it, and there's kind of belt dust everywhere. So you guys can probably see right there, like just belt dust kind of cakes everywhere. So something to keep aware of with the ProCharger. If you guys end up going that route, like this isn't really that much time on the thing, and just the engine bay gets like caked with belt dust everywhere. So I think this belt's pretty well shot, but just be aware that if you decide to go ProCharger, that your belt's going to wear out sooner. I haven't had to do anything really with tension. Tension's been okay, but belt dust, definitely a thing. The other thing too is with belt dust and the filter being right here, probably gonna have to clean the filter more often, I would assume, than a non-ProCharged or supercharged vehicle. This is what I was explaining to you in the last one. So the fact that I have those carved out and I have cold air coming in, so when this thing is closed and we have air ramming in through there, it's literally coming straight out here and dumping onto my air filter. So you guys can probably see the way that lines up. Like it is lined up pretty dang good. So yeah, not a bad mod. I mean, this side's not really doing anything. I don't think my brake booster needs any cooling, but I'm still getting some fresh air in this way. I haven't bothered with putting this panel in just because I've been working on stuff all the time, but this would probably, I don't know, a couple things. If I put this panel back on, it's not going to allow heat to escape through here at the top. So when I was at the track and I'd just leave the hood open, I think if I had this panel in here, it would keep the intercooler, a little bit hotter. What's up, Jimmy Cool Balls? Cue Balls, sorry. Yeah, the transmission's gone. It's on its way to TIC Performance. So that thing's gonna get rebuilt. They have some options, but I'm just going with a stage 1 just to keep things relatively cost effective, because I'm not, I don't know, as far as the plans for the Viper, I don't think I'm gonna go like crazy high horsepower on this thing, because whether I keep this or not, I do want to get the newer one at some point, the Gen 5, once it's, I don't know, financially it's a better position for myself, or maybe I come across one that's been in a wreck or something. I would be kind of interested to get like Gen 5 ACR has been in a wreck and fix it up and do that whole thing on the channel. I think that would be cool, but this is the remnants of it. That's the oil out of it, slave cylinder. That's the transmission mount, the polyurethane one, short throw shifter. Everything's just kind of chilling here. I got the tailgate sitting here, and just for a laugh, here is the size of the drive shaft out of this car. It is hilarious. It is honestly like a foot long, so very small. And another thing I do have to do is change the U-joint, but I'm going to document more of the Viper stuff later. Here's the I have 2 diffs for the Viper. It's another one just sitting here. So I have a Mopar Performance diff in the car. This is the stock one, and the other one's in there too. So let's see if you guys have any other questions. Sorry, don't mind my fingers here for a second. J-Dub, what's a good performance mod to start with? It really depends what your goals are. For a truck, most people, I would say, I think one of the most fun mods for a truck is putting an intake on it. It doesn't change anything as far as practicality. It still stays quiet. It doesn't produce drone, but when you floor it, you can hear the engine, sounds aggressive, all that good stuff. That's probably one of my favorite, just basic mods, is putting a cold air intake. There's some controversy on what is called a cold air intake, and some of those open cones suck hot air from the engine bay versus a stock one that actually pulls from the fender. But I would say start with a intake. Exhaust, I'm kind of indifferent on. I don't know if I'm getting old, but I don't really like loud exhaust at this point. It's just the drone and the constant noise gets to me. That's why I went with electric cutout. It's like I can make it as loud as I want, or right back to stock and cruising, and I can be on a Bluetooth phone call since that truck's equipped with it and it doesn't sit there rattling your eardrums. Jimmy, I still prefer the Gen 2 looks, but those Gen 5s. Yeah, see, that's where I'm at, Jim. Like, I don't know. I've sat down and looked at the numbers, and it would be pretty badass to turn this thing, like, you know, start doing Gen 4 heads, put a TR 6060 in this thing so it shifts better since my transmission just failed. It would be cool to do all those things, but then it's just like, I don't know. Something doesn't seem right about doing that, to me at least. I feel like I want to preserve the Gen 2 the way it is, enjoy it for what it is, and for that period of time that they were made, you know, 96 to 02. Enjoy the Gen 2 for that period of time and how it was produced or how it was built, and then get something faster and all that stuff. So I think you can really, it's easy to get carried away. This is my opinion, obviously, but it's easy to get carried away with a build. And, you know, Gen 4 heads with cam and all that stuff, and the whole valve train upgrade and doing all that stuff, and then having to get the brackets for the power steering pump and the alternator and doing all that stuff. It ends up running you like almost 20 grand is what most of these guys are dropping on these things. It sounds, don't get me wrong, it sounds badass having this thing all cammed and all modded out, but I just don't know if I want to go that direction. I feel like the best decision for me is, so I don't want to sell it, is to not sink too much money into it. Put it off to the side. When I'm more financially set, maybe I'll go crazy on it when I'm old and have gray hair. And I think that's probably my best thing. I think if I sink too much money into it, then I'm going to want to sell it to get the money back out. So that's what I'm trying to avoid right now. What else we got? What's up, Wes? I mentioned one point, I put a motorcycle in Jetta trunk. Yeah, I did actually put a motorcycle in a Jetta trunk. So I picked up a motorcycle. When I say motorcycle, I mean a motocross bike. It's still a big bike, but I went and saw it. It was like 8 hours away. I drove my TDI Golf at the time. Actually, I've done it twice. I've done it twice where I've put a motorcycle or a motocross bike in the back of a Jetta or back of a Golf. So once I went and drove 8 hours in the TDI, and the reason why I did that was because the TDI, like, you can drive like almost 1,000 miles in and around on one tank of fuel, which costs about maybe 40-50 bucks to fill. So you can go 1,000 miles on one tank. So I drove 8 hours, so I got there and back on one tank. So it cost me 50 bucks to go get it. When I got to the place, I ended up taking all the parts, taking the whole front end. I took the forks out, and I think I just took the forks off and the whole front end, and I just stood the bike up inside is what I did actually. So I took that off, took the handlebars off, took the forks off out of the triple clamps, and I just put it in, stood it up, and then I put everything to the side. I gotta dig that video up because it is absolutely hilarious. It was a while ago, but I did record it, and it was pretty funny. So actually, I'll post check me, if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, because I have a private Instagram just for like personal stuff, and then I have one for car stuff, but on my private one, I have a picture of the motorcycle inside the Golf. So I'll post that up on the Boosted Motorsports one. You guys can check that out for a laugh. What else we got? Jimmy, one thing that drives me crazy is a noise from the R88s. Honestly, my car is so noisy that it doesn't bother me and I don't hear it. That was like the least of my worries is the tires. There's so much else going on with the noise of this car. It's got the Borlas on it, or the Borla two, what do you guys call it? 2-muffler Borla system. So I know there's a 4-muffler Borla system, but that's just a 2-muffler. So it's just got those 2 cans in the side sills, and it's pretty loud. It sounds great, but it is definitely loud. I was actually thinking of putting the stock gears back in it because I know there's not too many Viper people here, but if you change the gears in a Viper, it's like a pain to reprogram it. You can't just buy a simple tuner and change the tire size or anything like that to adjust for a different gear set. You have to either buy like a yellow, I think it's called a yellow box or something like that, where you buy it and you have to like hardwire it in there and hack up the wiring that goes to the sensor to recalibrate it, or you have to go to like somebody that has like Dan Cragen, go to him, and he apparently can somehow reprogram it. But yeah, so my speedo's been off. I've actually been logging more miles than actual for maybe the last 10,000 miles. So I might put the stock one back in. When I went to the tall, like the higher gear ratio, so I went from I can't remember. I have a 373 in here. So I went from the, I think it's don't quote me, 310? I don't know. I can't remember what the stock gear ratio is right now off the top of my head, but it's like low threes. I went to 373s, but the RPM sits higher and the speedo sits higher. So it's actually showing more miles than what it is. So I don't want to keep clocking miles that I haven't clocked on the car. Do I have a motorcycle? I had a motorcycle and I sold it before anything happened. I'm kind of a maniac on a motorcycle. I used to race motocross professionally and also snowcross. I went to X Games, Aspen 2008. You guys want to look me up? But yeah, I competed in snowcross in X Games 2008. So I'm familiar with racing and motors. That's kind of what led me to this. This is like my fun stuff. But I had a GSXR 600, did a 750 swap on that. So I had a GSXR 600 sleeper bike with a 750 in it, fully modded. And we used to go crazy, full leathers, that whole bit, and race through the canyons and stuff with slicks on, like actual slicks on our bikes. And they were like gummy bears. If you guys aren't familiar with motorcycles and stuff like that, when you get tires that are dedicated for the track, you can literally, like, if you heat them up, you can take your nails and like sink your nails into these tires because they're like glue. Once you heat them up, they like grip anything. But yeah, I was just kind of getting out of hand, like, and a lot of people getting hurt, some people, dying or getting killed, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't like to think that way, but at the same time, it's just you're putting yourself out there. If I wrecked or something in my car or my truck, you would still, knock on wood, but for the most part, you would still make it home for dinner. It's like not as big of a deal. You're surrounded by a box, but if you spit your motorcycle off the road or something happens or somebody else messes up and takes you out, it's like there's not too many motorcycle accidents that you're gonna just walk away from. It's like, I don't know, when you have a big metal car and all that stuff, it's just, I don't know. I saw a few people like wreck around me, like somebody tried to follow me and keep up with me at one point, and they ended up wrecking, and I had to sit around and wait for them to get carted off to the hospital. It's just, I don't know, just after that, I was kind of like, I'll just hang it up for now. So I ended up selling that because I wasn't using it and, focusing on this stuff. So I'm pretty excited to get back to the track and kind of get the racing out of my system with the car. But the Viper's out of commission. Hopefully, I'm hoping by the beginning of January, it'll be ready. With the holidays and all that stuff, I don't think I'm gonna get the transmission back in time for, I think it's gonna be about at least 2 weeks before I get transmission back, unfortunately. So as soon as it comes back, car's back together though, you can be guaranteed that I'm gonna be hitting some auto cross courses. I gotta get some new tires though, but I do wanna hit some events soon. What else? Yeah, Jimmy, the ACR is kind of rare. Especially this one, the red with silver stripes seems to be pretty rare. As somebody that's on Drive Viper that's trying to do account, I think it's ACR Matt. He's trying to see how many red with silver stripes ACRs still exist, and he's trying to go around and find out which ones are still on the road, which ones have been wrecked, and the numbers are pretty low. What else we got? Thinking about lifting the backup. Yeah, so let me know if you guys have any other questions. I think it's gone pretty long right now. It's over an hour. I think that's pretty good for now, but I want to do more stuff like this, you guys. If you guys are you know, cool with this format, maybe I'll try once every 2 weeks or something. We'll do like a Friday night chat or whatever day works best. Maybe we'll take a poll on it, which day would be, you know, most enjoyable. But I think this format I kind of like because I can try to answer some of your questions. A lot of people ask questions in the comments. Sometimes I don't always get to them. I try my best, but I think some stuff is better explained visually. So like, for example, if you guys ask me any questions on like, you know, how are the exhaust tips holding up or anything like that, I can take the camera, walk over, show you guys how things are holding up, how things are faring, or just explain it right away. What is the fog lights in the truck? I'll answer these last questions. Yeah, so I still have the C6S bulbs in there, but I'm gonna try some other bulbs in there shortly. What's up, Alberto? I'm just signing off. We've been here for about an hour and a bit and some change, but let me know in the comments below what day works best for you guys, and if you guys like this format. If you guys, you know, enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up for me so I know you guys want to do this again. I know it's a little bit different than the usual stuff, but again, 15th of December, we're gonna hit the quarter mile if all goes well. I'm ready. The truck's sitting there ready to go. Still have to do a bit of data logging with Jay Green, and we should be ready to go. But I got the slicks ready. I got the 17s on the fronts. We're good to go. I got those junk 20-inch wheels that I'm gonna put on the back to limp us over to the track. But we should be ready and set to go. You guys should be able to expect some other videos from me shortly leading up to it. I still have to take the seat out. So I'm gonna take the passenger seat out. I'll document that whole thing. I'm gonna weigh everything for you guys so that you can calculate it. And hopefully we have something to go by. So how much the front seat weighs, how much the rear seat weighs, and we'll see how much we're ripping out of the truck. I tried to actually weigh my truck, but I don't know, I was at the track and they didn't want to let me on scale because they said it was too heavy, but I don't know. I don't think it's that it would have done or broke anything, but anyways, that's gonna be it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, thumbs up if you liked it, and we'll see you on the next video. Let me know in the comments what day works best or if you guys like this format, and we'll do it again. Take care, guys.